So tonight we've got a great topic with Laura. We're going to be talking about that infamous pandemic pup that everybody has been hearing about with COVID-19, and we're going to find out exactly what that means and tips and tricks you can learn to better or to get ready for reintegrating your pup now that you're starting to go out. Maybe you're going back to work and you want to make sure that your dog will not have any anxiety as you transition into whatever comes next.
You know, there might be dogs that are going to struggle with separation anxiety. I think that's a pretty common thing, is because now they've gotten so used to having us around all the time. Now, how do they cope with us being away? So I think that's one thing that most people sort of expect might be a problem. But another thing that has just gotten exacerbated is, well, actually, I'll say two more things. So one is attention-seeking dogs. So the more often we're home with them, giving them attention and maybe reinforcing something that they're doing when otherwise we might not have been home to reinforce it as often. Now we're reinforcing this attention-seeking behavior. So therefore they're attention-seeking more often, not less often. So they're not being satiated by all the attention they're getting. We're feeding into it, not meaning to, but we're feeding into it quite a bit. So that's one thing. And then a lot of, and this is pretty common in spring, usually March and April. I went to a conference in March, and then that's kind of when all this hit and I had to come back early. But I fully expected that when I got back from the conference, I would start getting the calls in March and April about leash reactive dogs, because that's such a common problem in the spring because they've been more cooped up in the winter. People aren't out and about as much, or if you are, you're not running into as many dogs or people. And then come spring, everybody wants to be out and everyone wants to be out at the same time. So we're seeing I see a lot of leash reactivity, and it's every spring. I mean, it's every March, every April. It's just like a spike. I tried to narrow it down for you guys a little bit. 3 main things that you can definitely be focusing on at home. What's the routine? What's the schedule like? Like what is it supposed to be like? The 3 E's, okay? Did they eat? Did they eliminate? And did they get some form of exercise? If you have the type of dog that, like, if you're sitting at your computer trying to get some work done and then you get up to go do something else and your dog gets up and follows you, they're not really getting restful sleep. Usually a dog who's wired and going crazy and doing all the things that they're not supposed to be doing is an overtired dog. Don't wait until somebody's at the door to then try to deal with this behavior. If they can't handle, a family member, one of your own family members coming to the door, knocking and being able to get them in without being jumped all over and all that, then they definitely can't handle a visitor coming in, right? Yeah. So with music therapy, the idea is that you are slowly getting their body used to going into a more relaxed, restful state when this specific music is on. Okay, so you want to start it when they're restful and then sort of work your way backwards to a point where you end up starting the music before they're restful and they go into that state of mind. Where it can go very, very wrong is if your dog sees the music or the stuffed Kong as a cue that you're about to leave. And so therefore, putting the music on actually causes more stress. And it might be that you actually poisoned it by accident. If your dog is already anxious about you leaving, they're going to take that as a cue. Sometimes they just struggle because they're bored. They're like, I don't know how to be by myself because you're usually here to entertain me. The separation skills course that I've been talking about a little bit, where I dive deeper into this stuff, is a bonus for signing up for the Canine Homeschooler Academy. You could buy just the separation skills course, but it costs twice as much as 1 month of the academy. So it makes more sense to join the academy, try it out, see if you like it, and then hopefully stick around. You have a giant library of resources, which I'm constantly adding to. The Canine Elementary course, which takes you through the manners, the sit, the down, the stay, the come, the leave it, the wait, all that stuff. And it's an 8-week program. It's stripped out though, so it's not too overwhelming for you guys. And then there's like drop-in classes where essentially, not necessarily drop-in, you do kind of have to plan a couple days in advance, but you could come in just to work on leave it, and it's a virtual class. We're working on Come When Called as our first challenge in October. So there's that, there's group coaching, there's tons and tons of stuff. So it's well worth it. It's $47 a month. So it's nothing crazy for everything that you're getting. Your kids are homeschooling or virtually schooling, and your dog can be homeschooling as well. Everything is taught as video lessons for the courses. and how-tos, and you get to see it all happening and all that sort of stuff. So.
You guys know Laura like I know Laura. She jam-packs everything. So, she's probably not even mentioning half the stuff you're going to get, because she's always, if you guys saw the free bingo game that she's doing this month, if you haven't joined in yet, there's still time, but it is jam-packed with the bingo card and 5 or 6 games, and then there's videos for each of those games so that you can do them correctly. Awesome stuff. So much great content. That's what we've been hearing all month, because Laura loves to share and she gives away so much stuff. So you can imagine all the great quality that she has in a group that you actually have to pay for. So I highly recommend.